Hey, Backpacker Geek here, and I am going to do a quick review comparing three of the Klymit sleeping pads. So I have here, this is the Klymit Static V, the Klymit Static V1, this is the Inertia X Wave torso pad, and this is their lightest Inertia X Lite torso pad. Okay, so here they are all rolled up. I haven't rolled them up as tight as you can, but you can get a kind of quick comparison. The X Lite definitely closes up the smallest. You can get it as small, as like a Coke can. Whereas the two other pads are a little bit larger. Okay, let's do the first Static V. So this is a full length 72-inch pad it's 22 inches wide. And I'm going to do a quick blow up to show you how long it takes me to blow it up. It's just got one valve. There you go. So about 25 breaths. So it's again 72 inches long, full length. It's 22 inches wide. This is Klymit's original pad. They make kind of like their trademark pad with the most of the Klymit pads have this kind of tubing where the air goes through, and the Static V has this V shape. It also has the way it kind of indents on the two wings. What this does in practice is it helps you stay on the pad. You kind of nestle in and these kind of bend up a little bit so you are less likely to slide off. It also allows, if you're trying to pack several of these into a tent, these can kind of bend up and so you can squeeze more pads in without having to like overlap them. This is 18 ounces. They make a newer version, Static V2, which is a couple ounces cheaper for about $10 more. This, I think right now on their website is $55, maybe $60, but you can often get it for $50 or less. I think I own 3 of them. I got them all for about $45. I've seen sometimes these are available at like Costco as well. If you are looking to get several comfortable sleeping pads for your family for summer backpacking, Klymit Static V1 or the V2 I think are probably your best options. Okay, the R value is only 1.3 reported. For summer backpacking, I find that's fine. Okay, I use a quilt with this, and I put this in. We always use these in a tent, or I put this in a bivy sack. On colder nights, I've had to wear my poncho, my parka puffy jacket over that. But I've been comfortable easily down to 40 degrees with this. I'll just lay down, show you. So this is with the full air. I usually actually let a little bit of the air out, so I kind of nestle in it. The way that the V's are, unlike a Neo Lite or something, there's the tubing allows you to kind of like nestle in and find a comfortable position rather than being just all flat, which I really like. I find that I don't even need a pillow with this. I can just put my arm underneath it. But here's the pillow just to show you. And so I sleep on my side a lot of the time, and I find this very comfortable sleeping on my side or even on my chest. It's wide enough that even on my chest, I'm able to keep all my arms and legs on the pad. Okay, so I think it's 2.5 inches thick. Very comfortable. I've slept on, hard rock, hardwood shelters. No complaints about this. It's a very nice, cushy pad. Okay, so let's jump to the next one, which is the Inertia X Wave. So this is a torso pad. I think it's 48 inches, but it's very wide. It's 25 inches wide. And so it's kind of like the neck, if you want still a nice kind of cushy pad, good coverage, but want to go to a little bit lighter torso pad, this is a good option. It's only 10.5 ounces, and here I'm going to blow it up. Okay, so that was just about 11 blows. Now, the torso pads come with 2 valves. So you've got the valve that you blow it up in, but then it's also got another valve that you can use a pump with. Okay, so it comes with a little hand pump, and what you do is so I haven't screwed closed this valve. I keep this valve, I'm just pushing it closed, and what I do is I stick on, these are a little bit tricky to get out of there. And then you just pump it. Now the reason why I'm holding this is that way I can't pop it. Basically as soon as I've started to fill it up as much as possible, air is going to slowly start to come out of this valve that I'm just pushing closed so that I can't pop it. And that's about as stiff as I can get it. This valve, ooh. So what you've just seen is that this valve, and I'll show you this happened on the other valve, this valve is a 2-piece, and when you pull off that pump, this thing can come out. And I glued the other one in, and it looks like I need to glue this one in as well. But, okay, so there, let's close that. It's still not. So as you can see, it's a little bit tricky to get these ones full. Okay. So this is only 1.5 inches thick. I find that I do need to do this pump on the second valve to really get it stiff enough to be comfortable. And it also has what Klymit does on some of these lighter pads is it has these holes, okay? The idea being that it doesn't need to provide you support where your body's not touching the ground or hitting, lying on the ground. One problem with this is that if you're using a quilt without a bivy sack, that means it's just a hole from your back to the ground. So cold air can just circulate through there. So they generally, I think, recommend you use more of a sleeping bag, which then is going to cost you more weight. But I use this one in my sleeping quilt bivy sack, and I am perfectly fine. So this is the pad that I normally use when I'm solo hiking, and I find it just comfortable enough. Okay, so here. So when you are just on it like this, I'm hitting the ground. I'm bottoming out. Okay, but when I lie on it, then all the pressure kind of evens out and keeps me off the ground. And I'm able to lie with my knees up, and then I don't really even need, so I don't need a lower pad because the width, the 25-inch width, allows me to get my knees up and to still be pretty comfortable. It's got a thinner tubing than the Klymit Static V, except right at the head. This V right here is wider. But I find I do need a pillow with this one.
just because it's just not as cushy as the Static V. And so this is definitely less comfortable than the Static V. More comfortable than a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch CCF closed cell foam pad. But it's pretty minimal. I could probably inflate this one even a little bit more. So it's got these V's on the bottom that just give you a little bit more extension.
So there you go. So it's a very wide pad, but still torso length, 10.5 ounces. Okay, and then let's jump to the last one. We've got the Inertia X Lite. Similar setup. It's got a valve that you blow in, another valve. Okay. So this one pumps it very fast. Okay, 5 breaths. Tricky to get this on. Okay, just try and pump it up a little bit more. And there you go. So this is slightly shorter. I think it's maybe 44 inches. A little bit shorter than the torso, than the Inertia X Wave, and it's a lot skinnier. It's only 18 inches wide, but it is only 6 ounces. Unlike the X Wave that had 4 holes, this one has 6. So it's just a minimal. You've got basically your head, shoulders, and hips are supported. It's just these minimal tubes connecting those. Okay.
So when I lay on it with my back, it just covers basically my chest width, my back width. Okay, my elbows and arms are on the ground. It's impossible to get them onto the pad. And on my side, there's no extra width, so it's hard to bring my knees up. And I can just barely kind of get onto the pad. And what I find is when this is in my bivy sack, I'm much more likely to kind of put my hand through these holes, touch the cold ground, or when I'm turning, get off center and hit one of those holes. I find this one is a little bit too minimalist for me. If I was going on a summer trip, temperatures were maybe not going to go below 50. I knew I was only going to be camping on soft ground, no shelters. Then I might take this. Okay, it's still, I think, more comfortable than a torso length closed cell foam pad, which, at the lightest you could get one that weighs 3 ounces. So for a 6 ounce pad, it's quite good. But for me right now, I find it I'm using the Inertia X Wave more often. So again, this one is 6 ounces. Inertia X Wave is 10.5 ounces. The Klymit Static V is about 18 ounces. With the newer version is 16 ounces. These two, the two torso pads technically don't have an R rating, but I compare them to the Static V. They're around low ones. because of the holes, I guess they can't properly test them to get an R value, and it's dependent on, again, if you have any insulation. So these are more designed for having a sleeping bag where you have insulation under the bottom that can fill, that can loft into these holes. But I find summer camping, I'm warm in all three. It's more just comfort. This is the least comfortable. Inertia X Wave is medium. Static V is by far the most comfortable. So there you go. 3 Static V pads. Price-wise, the Static V is the cheapest. You can get it for probably about 50 bucks. This one I think is around 60, and the Inertia X Wave is around $70. But again, Klymit puts these on sale a lot often, so you can often get them for $10 or even $15 cheaper.